been buddies in college, but after graduation, when we'd gone on to careers and marriage, our camaraderie had turned into more of a couple's friendship with dining out, wine festivals, and charity fundraisers. It was friends like Carson that I cherished, the ones who hadn't abandoned me when I needed their support the most. His wife, Maggie, had kept me going with casseroles while Carson had provided moral support through those dark years. No, I'm not sure. I don't want to leave just yet, but I can't afford to stay here. I winced, hating to tell Carson the sordid details of my finances. The insurance policy took care of the funeral and the remaining medical bills, but I can't swing the mortgage on my salary. The house had once been paid off, but after the accident, we'd needed to take out a mortgage to pay the medical bills, then a second mortgage to help pay the first. Then the 401k had been gobbled up with early withdrawals. I was in so far over my head that I doubted I'd clear anything after the sale, even with Carson kindly waiving his seller's commission.
Can you take in some roommates? 1 or 2 would cover the mortgage and give you time to think about what you want to do. I hate to see you sell this place, Kay. It's beautiful. It's the house you and Eli had always dreamed of having, the one you both wanted to grow old in.
It had been our dream house, a huge 3-story Victorian on a quiet street. I'd fallen in love for the second time in my life the day I saw it. The gingerbread trim, porches, thick wooden baseboards, and coffered ceilings. It was magical. It was also too big for 2 people. We'd intended to fill it with children. But life took another turn, and 5 of the 6 bedrooms had remained empty. It was too big for 2 people, and it was definitely too big for 1. But I wasn't sure I could expose my raw emotions and precious memories to a roommate who would leave dirty dishes in the sink and muddy shoes on the foyer carpet.
Look, I know someone who is searching for a place. It's very hush-hush, so I don't want to name any names unless you're interested. He's getting ready to go through a messy divorce and needs somewhere that doesn't look like a bachelor pad, so he can push for 50-50 custody.
Please tell me he's not one of the people in that sex scandal. That would be the sort of thing that led to a messy divorce. It seemed a madam, and I mean that with a capital M, had gotten herself arrested earlier this week. Not a big deal unless you considered that Locust Point was a tiny town. That sort of thing would have even been shocking in nearby Milford. But here in Locust Point, where everyone knew everyone, it was the topic of every conversation. Karen Swanson, attractive, immaculately groomed, party and wedding planner, Karen Swanson. What a scandal. If having a woman you were likely to run into at the grocery store turn out to be a madam wasn't enough, there was the juicy speculation on who her clients were. And a madam meant there were prostitutes. Prostitutes in Locust Point. We were all eyeing each other, wondering who had been doing a bit of side work with Karen. But so far, the woman kept her lips tightly sealed. No named prostitutes. No incriminating black book. Just a resounding claim of innocence from her lawyer. I had no doubt those coral pink lips would become unsealed once a plea bargain was on the table. A madam in Locust Point meant Johns in Locust Point. And I didn't like the idea of having a man who might have solicited prostitutes living in my house. Carson laughed. In fact, he laughed until I thought he might pass out.
No, I'm not saying this guy is beyond having an affair. I'm not